First contact and impending threat. The sky blazed with an eerie crimson glow as the massive alien ships descended through Earth's atmosphere. Humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial life had arrived, but it was far from the peaceful encounter many had hoped for. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead xenobiologist at NASA, watched in awe and trepidation as the ships hovered over major cities across the globe. The vessels were colossal, easily dwarfing the tallest skyscrapers. Their sleek, obsidian surfaces seemed to absorb light, giving them an otherworldly appearance that sent chills down Samantha's spine. "What do you think, Dr. Chen?" asked General Michael Hawkins, his weathered face etched with concern. "Are they here in peace?" Samantha's eyes remained fixed on the looming ships. "I'm afraid not, General. The positioning of their fleet suggests a tactical formation. This isn't a diplomatic mission. It's an invasion force." As if to confirm her words, beams of searing energy lanced down from the ships, carving swaths of destruction through urban centers. Panic erupted worldwide as humanity faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. In the chaos that followed, world leaders scrambled to mount a defense. Military forces mobilized, but their weapons seemed pitiful against the advanced technology of the invaders. The aliens, who called themselves the Zarkan, made their intentions clear. Earth was to be their new colony, and humans were little more than vermin to be exterminated. Samantha found herself thrust into the heart of humanity's resistance efforts. Her expertise in xenobiology made her invaluable in understanding the physiology and potential weaknesses of the Zarkan. Working tirelessly in a hidden underground lab, she pored over data gleaned from fallen alien soldiers and salvaged technology. "Their cellular structure is fascinating," Samantha muttered, peering into a microscope. "It's almost as if their entire biology is optimized for combat. Enhanced strength, accelerated healing, heightened senses. No wonder they consider themselves apex predators." General Hawkins leaned over her shoulder, his face grim. "Can you find any weaknesses we can exploit?" Samantha sighed, rubbing her tired eyes. "Nothing obvious yet, but there's something odd about their genetic makeup. It's too perfect, too engineered. I have a hunch there might be a flaw hidden in there somewhere." As Samantha worked, reports flooded in from around the globe. The Zarkan were methodically destroying military installations and communication networks. Their foot soldiers, towering beings with iridescent scales and razor-sharp claws, tore through human defenses with terrifying ease. Despite the overwhelming odds, pockets of human resistance began to form. In the ruins of New York City, a group of civilians led by former Army Ranger Jake Martins waged a guerrilla war against the alien occupiers. Using salvaged alien weapons and improvised explosives, they managed to score small victories against the invaders. Jake crouched in the shadow of a crumbling building, watching a Zarkan patrol move down the debris-strewn street. He turned to his second-in-command, a former Wall Street trader named Sarah. "Ready the EMP device. Let's see how these bastards like a taste of their own medicine." Sarah nodded, her fingers dancing over a cobbled-together device that looked like a mess of wires and circuitry. "EMP charged and ready. On your mark, boss." Jake waited until the alien patrol was directly beneath them. "Now." Sarah activated the device, and a wave of electromagnetic energy pulsed outward. The effect was immediate. The Zarkan soldiers stumbled, their high-tech armor flickering and powering down. For a moment, they looked almost vulnerable. "Hit them hard and fast," Jake shouted, leading his team into the fray. They struck with a fury born of desperation, using whatever weapons they had at hand. In the ensuing melee, they managed to take down several of the stunned aliens before retreating into the urban maze. As Jake's team melted back into the ruins, he couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. "We can hurt them," he murmured. "They're not invincible." Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, the Zarkan fleet maintained its ominous vigil. Aboard the command ship, Supreme Commander Vex Thor observed the ongoing invasion with cold satisfaction. His elongated fingers tapped a rhythmic pattern on the arm of his command chair as he reviewed holographic displays of the planet below. Status report, Vex Thor demanded, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with barely contained bloodlust. A subordinate officer approached, bowing low. The conquest proceeds as planned, Supreme Commander. Human military forces have been reduced by 78%. Major population centers are under our control. However, the officer hesitated. Vex Thor's head swiveled, fixing the subordinate with an unblinking stare. However, we are encountering unexpected resistance in some areas. The humans are proving more resilient than anticipated. There have been isolated incidents of successful counterattacks against our ground forces. A low, menacing growl rumbled in Vex Thor's throat. Impossible. These primitives are no match for the might of the Zarkan Empire. Increase the intensity of our assault. I want this planet pacified within the next solar rotation. As the Zarkan prepared to escalate their invasion, humanity's brightest minds worked feverishly to find a way to turn the tide. In her underground lab, Samantha Chen had made a breakthrough. General Hawkins, she called out, excitement evident in her voice. I think I've found something. The general hurried over, hope kindling in his eyes for the first time in weeks. What is it, Doctor? Samantha pointed to a complex molecular model rotating on her computer screen. Look at this. The Zarkan's cellular structure is indeed engineered, but it's not perfect. There's a flaw in their genetic code, a vulnerability we might be able to exploit. Hawkins leaned in, his brow furrowed. Can you explain it in simpler terms? Their biology is designed to be incredibly adaptable, allowing them to survive in various environments. Samantha elaborated. But this adaptability comes at a cost. Their immune systems are hyper-aggressive, constantly on high alert. If we could introduce the right kind of pathogen, something their bodies have never encountered before, we could turn their own biology against them. Hawkins finished, a grim smile spreading across his face. Samantha nodded. Exactly. But developing such a pathogen will take time, and we'll need resources we don't currently have access to. The general straightened, determination etched into every line of his face. You'll have whatever you need, Doctor. This might be our best chance to save humanity. As Samantha threw herself into her work, the war for Earth's survival raged on. The Zarkan intensified their attacks, laying waste to entire regions, but wherever they struck, they found humans fighting back with a tenacity that began to unnerve even the most battle-hardened alien warriors. In the smoking ruins of London, a group of scientists and engineers, led by Dr. Emily Sato, had reverse-engineered Zarkan energy weapons. They distributed their creations to resistance cells across Europe, evening the odds in skirmishes against the invaders. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes joined forces with stranded special forces units, using their intimate knowledge of the terrain to wage a devastating guerrilla campaign against Zarkan patrols. And in the vast steppes of Mongolia, nomadic horsemen armed with salvaged alien technology conducted lightning raids against Zarkan supply lines, disrupting the invaders' logistics and sowing chaos in their ranks. These isolated victories, while not enough to turn the tide of the war, served to keep hope alive. They proved that humanity, despite being outgunned and outnumbered, refused to go quietly into the night. As the first part of our story draws to a close, the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. Dr. Samantha Chen races against time to develop a weapon that could save her species. Jake Martinez and countless other resistance fighters continue their desperate struggle against overwhelming odds. And high above, Supreme Commander Vex Thor grows increasingly frustrated with the unexpectedly fierce resistance of these primitive humans. The stage is set for a conflict that will determine the future of Earth and perhaps reshape the galaxy itself. In the face of an enemy that considers itself the apex predator of the cosmos, humanity prepares to bare its teeth and show the Zarkan that they have grossly underestimated the fighting spirit of the human race. As dawn breaks on another day of conflict, The question remains, can humanity find a way to defeat these alien invaders, or will Earth become just another conquered world in the vast Zarkan Empire? The answer lies in the courage, ingenuity, and indomitable will of the human spirit, qualities that may yet prove to be the most powerful weapons in the universe. Humanity's preparation and initial resistance. The world had changed irrevocably in the months since the Zarkan invasion began. Once bustling metropolises lay in ruins, their skylines forever altered by the presence of looming alien structures. Yet, in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity refused to succumb to despair. In the hidden underground complex that served as the last bastion of organized human resistance, Dr. Samantha Chen worked tirelessly. Her lab, once sterile and orderly, now resembled a chaotic blend of human and alien technology. Holographic displays flickered with complex molecular structures, while salvaged Zarkan biotech hummed ominously in the corner. "How close are we, Doctor?" General Hawkins asked, his voice betraying a mix of hope and exhaustion. Samantha looked up from her work, dark circles under her eyes testament to countless sleepless nights. "We're making progress, General. The pathogen is evolving rapidly, adapting to the Zarkan genetic structure. But we need more time to ensure it won't affect humans." Hawkins nodded grimly. "Time is the one luxury we don't have. The Zarkan are pushing harder every day. We've lost contact with resistance cells in Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia." As if to underscore his words, a tremor shook the complex, dust raining down from the ceiling. The Zarkan were getting closer to discovering their hidden sanctuary. Meanwhile, on the surface, Jake Martinez and his team of guerrilla fighters were engaged in a daring mission. They crouched in the shadow of a massive Zarkan dropship, its sleek hull gleaming in the moonlight. "Remember," Jake whispered to his team, "we only get one shot at this. Sarah, you're on tech. The moment we're inside, jam their communications. Rodriguez, you're on point. Watch for sentries." With practiced precision, the team moved. Sarah, the former day trader turned tech wizard, attached a device to the ship's hull. There was a soft hiss, and a section of the metal seemed to liquefy, creating an opening. Inside, the team moved swiftly through alien corridors, their movements a testament to months of grueling practice and hard-won experience. They had one objective: the ship's central computer core. As they approached their target, a Zarkan warrior rounded the corner. Before the alien could react, Rodriguez was on it, a vibroblade slicing through the creature's tough hide. The alien fell silently, but Jake knew their window of opportunity was rapidly closing. "Sarah, do your thing," Jake ordered as they reached the computer core. Sarah's fingers flew over the alien interface, her mind interfacing with the ship's systems through a neural link they'd salvaged from a downed Zarkan scout. "I'm in," she announced after a tense minute. Downloading their tactical database now. Alarms blared suddenly, the ship coming alive around them. "Time to go," Jake shouted, laying down covering fire as his team retreated. They barely made it out, the dropship lifting off as they sprinted for cover. But their mission was a success. They had acquired crucial intelligence on Zarkan operations worldwide. Back at the Resistance headquarters, the data Jake's team retrieved proved invaluable. It revealed the locations of key Zarkan command centers, and more importantly, the aliens' next major offensive. "They're planning a push into the southern hemisphere," General Hawkins announced to the assembled resistance leaders. "Australia, South Africa, and Argentina are their primary targets. If they succeed, we'll lose our last major food production areas." The news was grim, but it also presented an opportunity. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had advanced knowledge of the Zarkan's plans. It was time to rally what remained of Earth's military forces for a counterattack. As preparations for the defense of the southern hemisphere began, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough in her research. "We've done it," she announced, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of triumph and trepidation. "The pathogen is ready. It's tailored specifically to the Zarkan biology and should be harmless to humans and Earth's ecosystem. General Hawkins studied the vial of innocuous-looking liquid in Samantha's hand. This is it. This is what's going to save humanity. Samantha nodded. If we can disperse it effectively, yes. But we'll need to get it into the heart of their fleet. Their environmental systems will spread it rapidly among their forces. The challenge seemed insurmountable. The Zarkan fleet hung in low orbit, seemingly impregnable. But humanity had one card left to play, a card born of desperation and human ingenuity. In a hidden hangar deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a team of engineers led by Dr. Emily Seto put the finishing touches on humanity's secret weapon. It was a spacecraft cobbled together from salvaged Zarkan technology and human innovation. They called it the Phoenix, a symbol of humanity's hope to rise from the ashes of near destruction. As the day of the Zarkan's southern offensive approached, a daring plan was set in motion. The Phoenix would attempt to infiltrate the alien fleet, its hybrid technology allowing it to disguise itself as a Zarkan vessel. Once inside, they would release Dr. Chen's pathogen into the fleet's central air circulation system. The mission was a long shot, a desperate gamble with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. But as the volunteers for this suicide mission stepped forward, a mix of pilots, scientists, and soldiers, there was a palpable sense of hope in the air. Jake Martinez, having proved his worth time, and again in guerrilla operations, was selected to lead the ground team that would infiltrate the Zarkan command ship. Dr. Samantha Chen insisted on going as well, knowing her expertise might be crucial if anything went wrong with the pathogen. As the Phoenix prepared for launch, General Hawkins addressed the crew. You carry with you the hopes and prayers of every human left on Earth. Your mission may well determine the fate of our species. Whatever happens up there, know that you go with the gratitude of all humanity. The launch was carried out under the cover of a fierce thunderstorm, the Phoenix rising on a pillar of flame before vanishing into the roiling clouds. As it ascended towards the Zarkan fleet, the rest of humanity held its breath, preparing for what might be their last stand against the alien invaders. On the Zarkan command ship, Supreme Commander Vexthor was finalizing plans for the southern offensive when an alert caught his attention. Unidentified vessel approaching, a subordinate reported. It matches the signature of one of our scout ships, but something seems off. Vexthor's eyes narrowed. Scan it thoroughly. If there's any doubt, destroy it. As the Phoenix approached the massive alien fleet, tension aboard the human craft was palpable. The fate of Earth rested on their ability to maintain their disguise for just a few more minutes. Inside the Phoenix, Jake turned to Samantha, his face set with determination. Ready for this, Doc? Samantha clutched the container holding the pathogen, her knuckles white. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's show these apex predators what humans are really capable of. As the Phoenix drew closer to the command ship, a tractor beam suddenly locked onto them. They were being pulled in for inspection. The moment of truth had arrived. Humanity's last, desperate gambit was about to be put to the test, with the survival of the entire species hanging in the balance. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future of Earth. As the Phoenix was drawn inexorably towards the heart of the Zarkan fleet, the question remained, could this small band of humans outsmart and outfight the alien invaders, or would this be humanity's last futile act of defiance? The turning point, human ingenuity unleashed. The Phoenix shuddered as it was pulled into the cavernous docking bay of the Zarkan command ship. Jake Martinez and his team tensed, weapons at the ready. Dr. Samantha Chen clutched the container of pathogen, her knuckles white with tension. Remember, Jake whispered, we only need to hold them off long enough for the dock to reach the environmental control system. Every second counts. As the ship's ramp lowered, they were met with a squad of Zarkan warriors, their scaled bodies gleaming under the harsh lights of the docking bay. For a moment, there was silence as the aliens studied the strange vessel and its even stranger occupants. Then all hell broke loose. Jake's team erupted into action, years of guerrilla warfare paying off as they moved with lethal precision. Salvaged Zarkan weapons hummed to life, cutting down the first wave of alien defenders. But more were pouring in, drawn by the sounds of battle. "Go," Jake shouted to Samantha. "We'll hold them here." Samantha nodded, her face set with determination. She sprinted from the ship, dodging energy blasts and leaping over fallen aliens. Her destination was clear, a pulsing column of light at the far end of the bay that could only be the central atmospheric processor. As she ran, the battle raged behind her. Jake and his team fought with a ferocity that seemed to surprise even the Zarkan. Human ingenuity paired with alien tech proved a devastating combination, but they were vastly outnumbered, and Jake knew they couldn't hold out forever. Samantha reached the processor, her hands flying over the alien controls. Thanks to months of studying salvage Zarkan technology, she was able to decipher enough to locate the input valve. With trembling hands, she attached the pathogen container and initiated the release sequence. A klaxon blared throughout the ship. On the command deck, Supreme Commander Vex Thor received the alert: intruders in the docking bay, and a containment breach in the atmospheric processor. His multifaceted eyes widened in sudden understanding. Seal off the docking bay immediately. Vent it into space. But it was too late. The pathogen was already coursing through the ship's ventilation system, spreading to every deck and compartment. Within minutes, it would reach the entire fleet through their interconnected life support systems. Back in the docking bay, Jake saw Samantha sprinting back towards the Phoenix. "It's done," she shouted over the din of battle. As if on cue, the Zarkan soldiers began to falter. Some clutched at their throats, while others simply collapsed where they stood. A pathogen was working faster than anyone had anticipated. Jake and his team fought their way back to the Phoenix, dragging wounded comrades and laying down covering fire. As they sealed the ship's hatch, the docking bay doors began to open, threatening to suck them out into the vacuum of space. "Get us out of here," Jake yelled to the pilot. The Phoenix roared to life, its engines straining as it fought against the pull of decompression. With a final burst of power, it shot out of the docking bay and into open space. As they retreated, they watched in awe as chaos engulfed the Zarkan fleet. Ships were drifting out of formation, some colliding with each other as their crews succumbed to the pathogen. The mighty armada that had terrorized Earth for months was coming apart at the seams. On the surface of Earth, humans watched in disbelief as the alien ships began to fall from the sky. Massive vessels plummeted through the atmosphere, breaking apart and burning up on re-entry. It was a sight both terrifying and beautiful, the death throes of an invading army and the dawn of hope for humanity. In resistance bunkers and hidden settlements across the globe, cheers erupted as news of the Zarkan's collapse spread. The seemingly invincible apex predators had been felled by human determination and ingenuity. But the war was far from over. As the Zarkan fleet disintegrated, thousands of alien soldiers were stranded on Earth. Confused, leaderless, but still dangerous, they would need to be dealt with. General Hawkins' voice crackled over the Phoenix's comm system. "Outstanding work, team. But we're not done yet. The Zarkan ground forces are in disarray. It's time to take back our planet." As the Phoenix descended back to Earth, Jake turned to Samantha. "Ready for round 2, Doc?" Samantha managed a tired smile. "Always. Let's finish this." Across the planet, humanity began to emerge from hiding. Armed with newfound confidence and salvaged alien weaponry, they prepared to confront the remaining Zarkan forces. The hunters were about to become the hunted. In the ruins of major cities, through dense jungles, and across barren deserts, battles raged as humans fought to reclaim their world. The Zarkan, cut off from their fleet and leadership, fought with the desperation of a cornered animal. But they were up against a species that had spent its entire existence adapting, innovating, and overcoming challenges. Jake and his team spearheaded assaults on Zarkan strongholds, their experience in guerrilla warfare proving invaluable. Dr. Chen worked tirelessly to refine the pathogen, creating localized versions that could be used to clear out entrenched alien positions without risking widespread environmental contamination. Weeks turned into months as the tide of war shifted. Slowly but surely, humanity reclaimed its cities, its lands, its world. The Zarkan, once so confident in their superiority, found themselves outmatched by human resilience and adaptability. Finally, after a grueling campaign, the last major Zarkan stronghold fell. As human forces stormed the alien citadel, they found Supreme Commander Vexthor, one of the few high-ranking Zarkan to survive the pathogen. The once mighty alien leader was a shadow of his former self, his scaled skin pale, and his movements weak. Jake approached the fallen commander, his weapon trained on the alien. Vexthor looked up, his multifaceted eyes filled with a mixture of hatred and grudging respect. "How?" the alien rasped. "How did you primitive creatures defeat us?" Jake knelt down, meeting the alien's gaze. "You thought you were the apex predators of the galaxy, but you forgot one crucial thing. On Earth, we've been the apex predators for millennia. We fought each other. We fought nature. We fought for our very survival since the dawn of our species. Did you really think we'd roll over for you?" Vexthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been a laugh. Perhaps we underestimated you, humans, a mistake we won't live to repeat." As the alien commander was taken into custody, Jake stood and looked out over the ruined landscape. The world had been forever changed by the Zarkan invasion, but humanity had survived. More than that, they had proven their worth on a galactic stage. In the months and years that followed, Earth began the long process of rebuilding. The knowledge and technology gained from the Zarkan opened up new frontiers in science and exploration. Humanity looked to the stars not with fear, but with a newfound confidence. They had faced the ultimate test and emerged victorious. The galaxy now knew humans were not to be underestimated. They were innovators, survivors, and when pushed to the brink, the most dangerous apex predators in the known universe. As Jake watched the sun set on a free Earth, he couldn't help but smile. The future was uncertain, filled with both challenges and opportunities. But one thing was clear: humanity was ready for whatever the cosmos might throw at them next. Counterattack and alien desperation. The aftermath of humanity's victory over the Zarkan main fleet brought both hope and new challenges. While the immediate threat of total annihilation had passed, Earth was far from secure. Pockets of Zarkan resistance remained, and the planet's ecosystems had been ravaged by the invasion and subsequent battles. In the war room of the newly established Global Defense Council, Jake Martinez stood before a holographic display of Earth, red dots indicating known alien strongholds. "We've pushed them back, but they're dug in deep," Jake explained to the assembled leaders. "These aren't just soldiers anymore. They're fighting for survival, and that makes them more dangerous than ever." Dr. Samantha Chen stepped forward, her lab coat exchanged for more practical field gear. "We've also detected some concerning mutations in the surviving Zarkan. It seems a small percentage have developed a resistance to our pathogen. They're evolving, adapting to Earth's conditions faster than we anticipated." General Hawkins, his face lined with new scars from recent battles, nodded grimly. "Then we need to end this quickly. What's our plan?" Jake pointed to several locations on the map. "We've identified 3 major Zarkan strongholds: Australia's outback, the Amazon rainforest, and the Siberian tundra. We take these out, we break the back of their remaining forces." As the council debated strategy, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A young lieutenant burst into the room, her face pale. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures in orbit. It's another Zarkan fleet." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Their victory had been incomplete. The Zarkan Empire had sent reinforcements. Jake's mind raced. They couldn't fight another full-scale invasion. Not now, not with Earth still reeling from the first. They needed a new strategy, something unexpected. Dr. Chen, he said suddenly, the pathogen. Can we weaponize it on a larger scale? Something that could take out an entire fleet. Samantha's eyes widened as she caught on to his train of thought. Theoretically, yes. But we'd need a delivery system capable of dispersing it through space. And we'd have to act fast, before their ships enter the atmosphere. General Hawkins turned to Dr. Emily Sato, the engineer responsible for the Phoenix. Doctor, can we modify the Phoenix for this kind of mission? Emily's fingers flew over a tablet as she ran calculations. It's possible, but it would be a one-way trip. The ship wasn't designed for that kind of payload or dispersal system. Whoever pilots it, they wouldn't be coming back. A heavy silence fell over the room. The plan was tantamount to a suicide mission. Jake stepped forward. I'll do it. I'll pilot the Phoenix. Protests erupted from around the room, but Jake held up a hand. I know these ships better than anyone. I've fought the Zarkan on their own turf. It has to be me. As preparations for the mission began, Earth's remaining military forces mobilized to engage the Zarkan ground forces. It would be a two-pronged attack, eliminate the alien reinforcements in space while simultaneously crushing their strongholds on the ground. In Australia's outback, a joint task force led by Aboriginal trackers and Special Forces operatives began their assault on the alien base hidden in the Red Desert. In the Amazon, indigenous warriors armed with a mixture of traditional weapons and salvaged alien tech moved silently through the canopy, converging on the Zarkan stronghold. And in Siberia, a coalition of Russian, Chinese, and European troops advanced across the frozen tundra, their weapons primed for the coming battle. As the ground assaults began, Jake made final preparations aboard the modified Phoenix. Dr. Chen personally oversaw the loading of the weaponized pathogen, her face a mask of concern. Jake, she said softly, are you sure about this? The odds of survival. Jake managed a wry smile. Since when have the odds ever been in our favor, Doc? Besides, someone's got to do it. Might as well be me. As the Phoenix prepared for launch, reports came in from the ground assaults. The battles were fierce, with both sides fighting with the desperation of those who knew defeat meant extinction. In the outback, Zarkan walkers clashed with improvised human mechs in battles that scared the ancient landscape. In the Amazon, the dense foliage became a nightmarish battleground of ambushes and traps. And in Siberia, the snow ran blue with alien blood as human forces pushed forward relentlessly. The Phoenix rocketed into the sky, climbing rapidly towards the approaching Zarkan fleet. As Jake piloted the ship, he couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought him here. From a resistance fighter hiding in the ruins of New York to humanity's last hope against an alien armada, it was almost too much to comprehend. As the ship broke through the atmosphere, the vastness of space opened up before him. And there, filling his view screen, was the Zarkan fleet. Hundreds of ships, ranging from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, all bearing down on Earth. Jake opened a channel to the alien fleet, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Attention Zarkan forces. This is Jake Martinez of Earth. You came to our world thinking us easy prey. You were wrong. We've beaten you once, and we'll do it again. This is your only warning. Leave now or face extinction. For a moment, there was silence. Then a familiar voice crackled over the comm system. Ah, the human warrior. I had hoped we would meet again. Jake's blood ran cold. He recognized that voice. Vex Thor. I thought you were in custody. The Zarkan Supreme Commander's laughter filled the cockpit. Did you really think your pitiful restraints could hold me? No, human. I am here to finish what we started. Your pathogen may have surprised us once, but we are prepared now. Earth will fall, and your species will be nothing but a memory. Jake's hands tightened on the controls. We'll see about that. With that, he cut the transmission and pushed the Phoenix to its limits. The ship weaved through a barrage of energy weapons, alarms blaring as systems were pushed beyond their breaking points. Jake had one shot at this, one chance to save Earth. As he approached the heart of the Zarkan fleet, Jake activated the pathogen dispersal system. The Phoenix shuddered as its precious cargo was released into space, a shimmering cloud that began to spread rapidly among the alien ships. On his view screen, Jake watched as the first Zarkan vessels began to drift out of formation. Then more, and more. The pathogen was working, spreading through the fleet's interconnected life support systems just as it had before. But the mission wasn't over. To ensure total dispersal, Jake had to detonate the Phoenix at the heart of the fleet. As he prepared for this final act, alarms blared. A tractor beam had locked onto the ship, pulling it towards a massive Zarkan dreadnought. Jake's eyes widened as he realized what was happening. Vexthor was trying to stop him, to prevent the pathogen from spreading further. But in doing so, he had sealed his own fate. With the last of the Phoenix's power, Jake overrode the tractor beam and sent his ship on a collision course with the dreadnought. As the distance closed, he closed his eyes and thought of Earth, of all he was fighting for. "See you in hell, Vexthor," he muttered. The Phoenix slammed into the dreadnought, the resulting explosion visible from Earth's surface. The weaponized pathogen spread in a massive wave, engulfing the entire Zarkan fleet. On Earth, humans watched in awe as the alien ships began to fall from the sky, burning up in the atmosphere or crashing into the oceans. The second invasion had been stopped before it could truly begin. As news of the space battle spread, human forces on the ground pressed their advantage. The Zarkan, cut off once again from their fleet and leadership, began to crumble. One by one, their strongholds fell. In the aftermath of the battle, as the dust settled and humanity began to comprehend the scale of their victory, a single question remained. Had Jake Martinez survived? The Phoenix had been destroyed, but escape pods had been detected leaving the Zarkan dreadnought moments before the collision. As search and rescue teams scoured the debris fields, Earth held its breath, hoping against hope that their hero had somehow, once again, beaten the odds. Final battle and aftermath. The world waited with bated breath as search and rescue teams combed through the debris field in Earth's orbit. Days turned into weeks, but there was no sign of Jake Martinez. Hope began to fade, and memorials were prepared to honor the man who had twice saved humanity from extinction. Dr. Samantha Chen threw herself into her work, analyzing the remnants of Zarkan technology scattered across the globe. She couldn't shake the feeling that their victory, as monumental as it was, might be temporary. The galaxy was vast, and who knew what other threats lurked among the stars? 1 month after the destruction of the Second Zarkan Fleet, as world leaders gathered in the newly rebuilt United Nations headquarters in New York to discuss Earth's future, an urgent message came through. "We've detected a small craft entering the atmosphere," a technician announced, her voice trembling with excitement. It's giving off both human and Zarkan signatures." The room erupted into chaos as speculation ran wild. Was it a surviving alien ship? A trap? Or could it be the craft, a cobbled-together escape pod of human and alien design, touched down in Central Park? As armed forces surrounded the landing site, the hatch opened with a hiss of escaping air. And there, battered, bruised, but very much alive, stood Jake Martinez. The crowd erupted in cheers as Jake stumbled out of the pod, supported by none other than a severely wounded Vexthor. The sight of the human hero and the alien commander leaning on each other for support was a shock to all who witnessed it. As medical teams rushed to their aid, Jake managed a weary smile. "Looks like we both underestimated each other's will to survive," he said to the alien. Vexthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been agreement. Perhaps there is more to learn about each other than we thought. In the days that followed, Jake recounted his incredible tale of survival. How he had managed to eject from the Phoenix moments before impact, only to be captured by Vexthor. How the two mortal enemies, stranded in a crippled escape pod, had been forced to work together to survive. and how, in those weeks adrift in space, they had begun to understand each other. Vexthor, for his part, provided invaluable information about the broader galactic community. The Zarkin, it turned out, were not the only spacefaring race out there. Some were peaceful, others even more warlike than the Zarkin. Earth's victory had put humanity on the galactic map, for better or worse. As Jake recovered in hospital, Dr. Chen worked tirelessly to integrate the wealth of new information into humanity's growing understanding of the cosmos. The Zarkin technology, combined with human ingenuity, opened up new frontiers in science and exploration. World leaders debated the path forward. Some argued for isolation, for building up Earth's defenses against future threats. Others pushed for a more proactive approach, for taking humanity's place among the stars. In the end, a middle ground was reached. Earth would prepare for both peace and war, extending a hand in friendship to those who sought alliance, while maintaining a strong defensive posture against potential threats. The remaining Zarkan on Earth, under Vexthor's guidance, sued for peace. Many humans were skeptical, the wounds of invasion still fresh. But Jake, having seen another side of the aliens, advocated for cooperation. "We've proven we can beat them in war," he argued before the United Nations. "Now let's prove we can work with them in peace. We're stronger together than we are apart." Over the next few years, Earth underwent a transformation. Zarkan technology, adapted for human use, helped restore the planet's damaged ecosystems. Cities were rebuilt, sleeker and more resilient than before. And in orbit, a new fleet took shape, ships of human design, incorporating the best of both human and alien technology. Jake, hailed as a hero but uncomfortable with the attention, took on a new role. Working alongside Dr. Chen and a team of human and Zarkan scientists, he helped prepare humanity for its next great adventure, deep space exploration. 5 years to the day after the defeat of the Second Zarkan Fleet, Earth's first true starship was ready for launch. The FSS Phoenix, named in honor of the ship that had saved Earth, stood gleaming on its launchpad, a testament to how far humanity had come. As Jake prepared to board as the ship's captain, he paused to look back at the gathered crowd. There was Dr. Chen, who had become more than a colleague, a true friend. General Hawkins, now the head of Earth's combined defense forces, and even Vexthor, serving as an advisor and liaison to the galactic community. "Ready for another adventure, Captain?" Dr. Chen asked, a twinkle in her eye. Jake grinned, feeling the familiar surge of excitement he always felt before a mission. "Always, Doc. The galaxy won't know what hit it." As the Phoenix lifted off, soaring towards the stars, humanity watched with pride and hope. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. They had turned enemies into allies. And now, they were taking their first true steps into the cosmic ocean. The Zarkan had come to Earth thinking themselves apex predators, only to find a species that refused to be prey. Humanity had proven itself not just as warriors, but as survivors, innovators, and now, explorers. As Earth grew smaller in the Phoenix's viewscreen, Jake couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. But humanity was ready. They had been forged in the fire of invasion, tempered by adversity, and now they were stronger than ever. Whatever challenges awaited them among the stars, Jake knew one thing for certain. Humanity would face them head-on, with the same determination and ingenuity that had saved their world. The era of humanity as prey was over. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. As the Phoenix engaged its faster-than-light drive, disappearing in a flash of light, a new chapter in human history began. The apex predators of Earth were now the explorers of the cosmos, ready to make their mark on the galaxy. The end, or perhaps just the beginning.